Mr. Chairman, I would like to introduce Mr. Michael Sanderson.
Morning.
Good morning. I have two questions. My first question I'm asking on behalf of my colleague, fellow bank warrior and friend Selwyn Crepp, who is also a shareholder. Unfortunately, he couldn't get here today. Regarding shareholder expenses, it has been reported that the failed former bank CEO Brian Hartzer was paid a final salary of approximately $2.67 million. His departure was due to lack of performance that will cost shareholders dearly. Ultimately, accountability lies with Westpac's board, not just its CEO. Why use shareholders' dividends to reward dishonourable, costly, damaging and criminal conduct?
I'll answer that one first. The arrangements upon which Brian Hartzer left the organisation were by mutual agreement. That was felt to be the best thing to do for the company at the time, at a time when, as we've been talking about, we don't have all the answers as to who knew what and accountability. That will come through over time. Brian left without any variable pay at all, no entitlement to short-term variable pay. So all he got was his fixed pay up until the day that he left the organisation. Plus, he was given 12 months' notice because that's his contract. So that would be normal. So we had to honour our contract with him, just as we would with any other employee of Westpac. When they are leaving, when we don't have the grounds at that time for dismissal. So that's what happened. That, for the record, is normal practice. That's not Westpac being overly generous. That is honouring our contractual obligations to an employee, which we would do whether it's the CEO or any other employee in the organisation. But certainly all variable pay that was due has been forfeited. So it's only the fixed pay we're talking about.
Overly generous, that's an interesting term. You can be overly generous to me anytime you like. My question, it's become increasingly obvious to me from personal interaction with bank boards that bank boards have little knowledge of what is going on in their banks, or worse, still will turn a blind eye. This includes Westpac. Ken Henry stated at last year's NAB AGM, but boards have a limited pool from which they can draw their members. There is one pool that bank boards are reluctant to draw their members from, and that's their own banks. The only reason CBA's Catherine Livingstone could give that it was a philosophical approach. If whistleblower Jeff Morris and Dr. Coe were appointed to the CBA board, the board's understanding of their bank would be increased exponentially. The same thing could be said of Amanda Wood and Westpac. Despite not being fit for purpose, for years, bank boards still use Ken Henry's incestuous, pull and parachute in overpaid, revolving door, short-term mercenaries. Why is there so much resistance from banks to populating a significant number of their board from their own banks and even customer representatives?
I think the reluctance from our own executive group or our own staff group is because that is seen to be not sufficiently independent of management because they come from management. So I think that's the answer. I think increasingly then all boards should be considering the diversity around the table. Clearly, these are large, complex businesses, and individuals who sit around that table need to have an understanding of that and being able to contribute to the running of those businesses. So it's all a question of experience and qualification, and there should be no reason why that doesn't come through a customer or a former employee or somewhere. But these are big businesses to run, as you pointed out, and the skill sets I think are well defined in terms of what a board member needs to have but we certainly have to have an open mind about where they might come from.
Clearly, the current model doesn't work, and that just doesn't apply to Westpac. There are international examples where board members are drawn from within organisations and the customer body. So there is international precedent for that approach. And as I said before, clearly the current model does not work across the banking sector in this country.
Thank you.